Hey everybody, and welcome to the 10th episode of The Bug Jar. And today what we thought we would do is play a couple songs that are going to be on our album that we're going to be releasing early next year, fingers crossed, and talk a little bit about the songs and what they're about and how we wrote them and all that kind of fun stuff, and just sort of dive into our songwriting a little bit more. We're going to start off with Dorothy Gale, which if you've seen us live or been on our Facebook, you might have heard this one already. So we'll play it first and then we'll debrief and talk about it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bluebirds really fly that high. And I think the idea for this one started back, not this past June, but the June before. We were playing at the Old Farce Reunion, an illustrious event that Zach's dad puts on every year that is a blast. And I was just idly scrolling through Instagram before the event really took off, and I saw a post from, oddly enough, a local bakery here in Winston-Salem that I really, really love called the Humble Bee Shop. It's a one-woman powerhouse kind of bakery, and she was making some Wizard of Oz inspired macarons. And I thought that was super cool, and I was like, man, that inspires me to write a Wizard of Oz inspired song. And so I jotted down some ideas in a note in my phone and then left it for a long time. And then probably 2 or 3 months later, Zach was dabbling around with the chord progression, that little lick on banjo. And he was like, hey, you want to write something to this? And I said, sure. So I sat down, and I started thinking about the song Somewhere Over the Rainbow, which I teach to my students quite a bit. I was like, well, what if I flipped all of that on its head? And so I took some inspiration from that song, which is, you hear the homage in the lyrics there. But then I was like, what if Dorothy, who is obviously a very kind person who brings out the best in people, is kind of starting to get fed up with always helping other people and getting basically taken advantage of, which is not really what happens in the story, but I was like, but what if it was? And so that's where the song came from. And then I used the no place like home quote from the book, and she says it, there's no place like home, there's no place like home, there's no place like home 3 times in a row. And so I decided to do that, but I wanted to, instead of sounding like I was just repeating myself over and over, I wanted to vary it up. So I tweaked the melody each time so it would be a little bit different. And then at the end, closing it out with the idea of really just wanting to go home and kind of be done with all of this craziness that is the world of Oz. So I actually had people text me and kind of tell me their interpretations of it, and some people are like, oh, it's about relationships, which it totally could be. So I like that it's vague enough that people can relate to it, but I also have my little specific story about it.
Musically, that song is, for the most part, a 2-chord jam. So it's an A minor 7 into a D major. And I've always liked 2-chord jams for being able to improv lead stuff over top of. That was my focus on the musical side of that song, was just having this really solid 2-chord foundation to have some jams over. Because a lot of our songs are guitar jams, but we don't have so many that are the banjo is the sort of improvising, jamming component of it. So this is really the only song we have that's that way, and I wanted a song that really felt good that way. Yeah. So that's the focus of that one musically.
And then when we play it live, we can do, we did a much, much shorter solo jam section than we normally do, and when we're live, I have a hi-hat that I play as well. We'll start the jam, and I'll, pull back on the guitar and just play very, very softly so that all you hear is kind of that soft banjo coming in, and we slowly build up, and then on the last, 2 times through, I add the hi-hat, and then it really kicks up and gives a different energy to the last chorus, and makes it a lot more dramatic. We chose, instead of going back to the A minor and ending on the word home, to just cut it at Just Let Me Go and kind of leave it as, is it over yet, or is it not over yet? That's always...
And nobody ever knows.
That's always funny live.
So now we're going to do a song called Same New Woman. I wrote this one, I don't know, a few months ago, and there's this saying that you often hear, especially in a lot of love songs, and you see it in movies, and you see it in books and things, and it's like, she's the same woman that I fell in love with all those years ago. She's the same lovely woman that she was when she was 16 or whatever. And I really, really disagree with that concept for someone that you love. I think we need to change, and I think we do change, and we should change together. Like me and Kendra have changed a whole lot since we first dated and since we've been married, and I hope that we continue to change together. So the whole concept of like, oh, she's the same lovely woman that she was when she was 16 and she's now 50. Well, there's something wrong there, in my opinion. So this is a love song about changing with someone and someone being a different person than they were when you first met them. So this is my protest against that philosophy. But anyway, here we go. This is called Same New Woman. You're not the same woman I met all of those years ago. In 5 years' time, you'll be another yet, with 10 or 20 more to go. We're always rolling like the river's blue. I keep changing along with you. I fall in love for the 1,000th time. The same new woman by my side. Snowflakes were falling, but the coffee was warm, and I was just as lost as you. Strangers became friends in the storm, and that was the first love I knew. We're always rolling like the river's blue. I keep changing along with you. Fall in love for the 1,000th time. The same new woman by my side. Hurt, sick and afraid, you told me you loved me and I believed. I met you again on our wedding day. I love each of you, I'm yet to meet. We're always rolling like the river's blue. I keep changing along with you. I fall in love for the 1,000th time. The same new woman by my side. We're always rolling like the river's blue. I keep changing along with you. I fall in love for the 1,000th time. The same new woman by my side. So there's some melodic on that song. I always push for more and more and more and more melodic in our songs. So
yeah, that one, Zach wrote all of everything, and he had that little lick in the beginning on the guitar. And I was like, well, let's try melodica on it, or maybe he was like, let's try melodica on it. And so I kind of harmonized that, added the little octave in there. It lends a different sound to the song and a different energy to the song. I think that one's really fun, and melodica is just a fun and kind of lighthearted instrument, and the song has a lighthearted nature to it, even though there's some seriousness to the subject matter. Of overall, it's a kind of a fun and light song in the set. So it's always fun to kind of pull this out, especially if it's, you know, you're doing a long set and it's been a hot minute and things are sort of getting stale for you, maybe getting a little stale for the audience. Nothing like pulling out a melodica to get people to be like,
what is that?
What is this? We've had people call it so many things. So on WAME, the Chillbillies called it the Manischewitz instead of melodica. Then we've had some folks at the Hopspot called it a breathalyzer. And we've had a whole bunch of
So it's
things.
just something to do with alcohol, basically. Yeah.
Always alcohol. But it's just a fun and goofy instrument, and it fits the song really well.
Thank you guys for participating in our 10th episode of the Bug Jar. It's been fun making these. We're going to continue to make more of these.
Yeah, and thank you for watching up to this point and sticking with us for the last 10 weeks as we have put in the time to start learning how to do this and tried to up our game and get better quality content, better quality video every time we do this. So thank you for watching, and thank you for giving us the inspiration to make it to 10 episodes, and we hope to make it to many, many more. And we will see you next week with a super special episode that you are not going to want to miss. So if you haven't subscribed and hit the notification bell, please do that, because it's going to be a really cool one, and it's not like anything we've ever done up to this point. So be sure to do that. So that's all. We'll see you next time.